Hey everybody, Gleekon here again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft coming at you. Um, we last did the expansion of Arathor, so the human races, or the human kingdoms, nations, whatever you want to call them, factions, they have begun to be established. We have specifically Kultirans and Lordaeron are two of the more interesting ones. And I said it was going to get a little bit more dense. So now here, stay a while and listen to this one, the Council of Tirisfal, which is only 20 years down the line. 2,680 years before the Dark Portal. Let's see what this one goes. This might be addressing, hey, why like things are evil, or this might be beginning to precursor the Guardian, because I know that's the big thing we need to happen to get the Warcraft going. Okay, the growth and prosperity experienced by Arathor was due in large part to magi and the protection they offered settlers. Even so, private distrust of sorcerers festered among the general populace. Over time, dissent and superstition grew, igniting tensions between magic users and the rest of society. Most magi withdrew from cities and towns, angry at being subjected to what they saw as baseless paranoia. Okay, so that's what we are leaving up on. This is gonna be leading up to Dalaran most likely being ripped out and taken to Northrend. Dalaran's ruler Artagon invited many of these disgruntled magi to his city. There he proclaimed they could live free of prejudice. Many of these magi answered Artagon's call and settled in Dalaran. When the first group of these sorcerers arrived, they decided to remake the city into a glorious center of knowledge. It's so awesome, they had to make it twice. The city's so nice, they had to make it twice. There's two Dalarans as the capital. Using their great powers, the Magi expanded Dalaran in size and scope. They raised gleaming spires throughout the city and constructed vast libraries and repositories of arcane wonders. Artagon and the most powerful of these newly arrived magi formed a magocracy to govern the burgeoning city. This ruling body encouraged the study and practice of arcane arts. As word of Dalaran spread, magi from across Arathor began to see it as a symbol of hope and freedom. What's the name of the guy that is instrumental through a lot of the different things in Warcraft? Dang it, he's located in Dalaran. He's got short gray hair. He's a wizard. Can't remember his name right now. Okay. Within a few years, Dalaran exploded in population. Though only a small percentage of residents could wield the arcane, the protection they offered allowed trade and industry to grow unimpeded. Crime was virtually non-existent, except in the underbelly. I hate that place. The dangers of the wild were largely forgotten. But this unchecked spellcasting had disastrous consequences. The reckless use of magic began tearing through the fabric of reality in the region. Dalaran's magi were unaware that waves of arcane energy billowed out from the city and into the twisting nether. These tides of power drew the attention of scattered demons belonging to the Burning Legion. A small number of these demons slipped into the physical world, infiltrating Dalaran itself. I wonder if we're going to get warlocks out of this. Though these creatures were weak and usually alone, they succeeded in sowing chaos and terrorizing the peaceful city. And this is what the High Elves had warned about, or what they were worried about. The magocracy struggled to deal with these demonic intrusions while also keeping them a secret from the public. More and more, the city's rulers feared that if the superstitious populace learned the truth, they would panic and riot. Eventually, the magocracy sought help from beyond the city's walls. The ruling magi sent an urgent request to the High Elves of Quel'Thalas. The humans hoped that the elves, in their infinite wisdom, might understand how to deal with the sudden influx of demons. The ruling body of Quel'Thalas, the Council of Silvermoon, immediately dispatched the High Elves' greatest magi to investigate. They determined that only a few demons had crossed into the physical world, but the magi knew that this was merely the beginning. The problem would grow worse unless the magocracy placed limits on humans' use of magic. Many of Dalaran's leaders rejected the High Elves' recommendation. Magi had come to the city because they could freely practice their arcane arts. Restricting them would result in a number of detrimental effects. At best, most of the brightest magi would leave and continue their arcane studies elsewhere. At worst, Dalaran's entire economy would collapse, sparking revolt and scattering the magi to the far corners of the land. One way or another, the use of arcane magic would continue, be it within Dalaran's walls or without. No matter what happened, the threat posed by the Burning Legion would always exist. Having agreed that they could not prohibit the use of magic, the Council of Silvermoon and the Magocracy of Dalaran decided on another solution. Together they formed a clandestine order to deal with the demonic invaders. This new group met within a secret grove in Tirisfal Glades to discuss its work, and it became known as the Council of Tirisfal. The Order's gifted members would be responsible for tracking and banishing the Legion's agents wherever they might be found across the land. The Magi would also quietly educate other Magi about the dangers of reckless spellweaving. Okay, so they established one secret forces. Maybe that's what become the Kirin Tor. And definitely that's where the Guardian will come out of the secret forces. This is just, I mean, I guess it's danged if you do. Danged if you don't. Because if you think about it, I mean, I guess they're right. Even though you could say like, oh, we can't prohibit the use of magic. Let's just deal with the fact that we're going to destroy the world and combat that. Yeah, it's tough. Trying to think of some parallels, if you think of parallels to modern humanity, things that we say that we can't live without, they're going to happen either way, so we might as well just figure out how to police their outcomes. I think there's some parallels. However, in the case of magic, it would be tough to just say, nah, you can't use it. All right, so that's another episode in the Pipes 5x5. Thank you for listening. I will catch you guys on the next episode of Lore of Warcraft.